This exhibition's the first time that so many of Christopher Woolf's paintings have been brought together in Britain. There are 15 paintings from a period between 1995 and 2002, and the paintings are a kind of weird, amazing hybrid of what you might associate with pop art, the use of silk screen print that's familiar from artists like Andy Warhol, and the apparent mesh dots that somebody like Lichtenstein made really famous, at the same time as being much more exuberant and energetic, and in that way I suppose it reflects something of abstract expressionism and Jackson Pollock and people like that. Although each of the paintings is unique, they use and abuse elements of other paintings. You'll find details from one image reproduced elsewhere. It might be in a different colour, it might be in a different scale, it might be upside down, but these elements run throughout the paintings, making them like a kind of family or even like a musical refrain. There's lots of connections between them. The exhibition looks at the interplay between Woolf's paintings and his photographs, for which he's not so well known. There are photographs of paintings that are developed through the use of photography. There are photographs that are the antithesis of what photographs are meant to be. We all think of photographs as being something that can be endlessly reproducible, particularly now with digital technology. But one big group of photographs, the studio Polaroids, is the opposite of that. These are instant one-off images. As we all know, Polaroids are irreproducible, so they're a kind of weird type of photography. The other group of photographs, East Broadway Breakdown, are black and white prints, which are maybe more classical in their original appearance, but actually they are digital prints rather than the more classical darkroom prints. Both painting and photography are, of course, visual media, and that's the basic exploration that Woolf's engaged with. How we look and why we look at things, how we find things interesting, what things we disregard, how compositions become interesting. I think if you look at the black and white images, you can see that some of them are rather enjoyable compositions of white lines on dark background. And I think that is something that is translated into the paintings, this kind of high contrast between black and white. For many years his work was exclusively black and white, and it's only in the last few years that he's introduced colour. And he's also carried on using a number of techniques that maybe we would associate more with DIY. There are patterned paint rollers which are used to give a kind of fake wallpaper effect that he's used in paintings for many years, and also spray paint, enamel paint. There's lots of things that maybe you wouldn't associate with fine art but that are recurrent tools in his practice. I think what's interesting about bringing the two things together is you can really see Woolf's ongoing fascination with how images come together. They're a little bit chaotic and a little bit controlled at the same time, kind of like the city that he depicts in the black and white images. The work has always been seen to be very much related to the New York downtown area that he's lived and worked in for 25 years, and I think this exhibition makes that quite explicit.
I live and work in New York. I grew up in Chicago, and I've been painting in New York for 25 years, have my studio there, and this is actually my first one-person exhibition in the UK. I'm basically an abstract painter, or maybe not even basically, I am an abstract painter, and I'm interested in visual language, and it's not easy to put words to it. I think that's part of, that's just the nature of it. All these years of working with painting and photography and visual things, I'm just starting to learn enough to feel comfortable making paintings. Even besides having made paintings, for a long time worked in a couple parallel mediums, photography, and I've made artist books with the photographs. Besides the books, it's not work that had ever been shown publicly, and that was the initial idea behind the show, to bring some of this parallel material into an exhibition with paintings. And thus this group of black and white photographs that I've been working with for a few years and will be making a book with ultimately, and recent paintings, and then the group of Polaroids seemed to make a lot of sense to bring into the exhibition for, it's a kind of link between purely photographic work and the paintings, since the Polaroids were a studio tool while I was working on paintings. I used the photographs to try different things and even just keep record of the paintings and stuff. And photography, besides just the parallel of these books and photographs, I actually have started using photography in a digital way to make silk screens. So the whole idea of the exhibition is to show how these other mediums kind of loop back on each other in the work. The photo material, unusually for me, was inspired by this neighborhood in New York where I've lived and worked for over 25 years. With the paintings, it's really, I guess, the inspiration is really internal, and I get inspiration from the work and from the process of working. Painting is a visual medium, and they're to be looked at. For me, like listening to music, it's an emotional experience.